Hello, Leo here, and welcome to Piloto Studio. Today, we're going to be doing the taunt unusual effects from Team Fortress 2. Unusual effects usually hover only in your hat. They're like just static particle systems that go off of your hat. But unusual taunt effects, they actually sample the mesh vertex position and spawns particles throughout a character's body. And those even follow animations sometimes. So you can do that on Unity using Shuriken, the default, Unity particle system, and this is what we're going to be going over today. The shader that we're going to be using is the free Piloto Studio shader. We're also using a character from our characters on the asset store, but you don't need the character to follow this tutorial along. You can get any character you would like and any shader that you would like, really, and the technique would work just the same. The main bread and butter of this technique is going to be the shape module of the Shuriken particle system. So if you never messed with that, this is a great opportunity to learn. So let's jump right into it. Alrighty folks, so onto Unity we go. I have here an example setup. It's a very simple setup. I just have one of the models here from Piloto Studio endlessly animating the same attack animation. And I also put, because we actually have a pack of VFX called Mesh Effects that kind of does this, so this is the shocking one, and this just goes to show the possibilities here of this technique. And once again, we're not going to be recreating any specific visual effect from Team Fortress. We're just going to be going over the technique and the foundations. So what I'm going to do here is that I am going to delete these yellow shocking effects here, and we have an empty particle system. So we have here a stock particle system from Unity, just a white square, and I just wanted to show you that the meat of this effect is actually so simple. All you gotta do is go here into shape, right, and you're gonna choose skinned mesh renderer. Now if I click on my clown here, you're going to notice that it has a component called skinned mesh renderer. So what I can do is that I can select my clown and drag and drop here on the mesh property, and voila, my particles are going to be spawned on my character. You see here, they're being spawned and they're kind of locking to the body of the character. Interestingly, sometimes this module is actually bugged, so sometimes you have to restart your Unity for it to work. But so if you do this where you set up as skinned mesh renderer and you set it up as a mesh and you select your mesh, if it's not doing anything, if it's not showing up anything, it might just be a matter of restarting your editor, and then it goes back to working. So let's do here a very quick effect. There's a couple things I want to show. So first we're gonna make just some smoke, I think should work. So I have here some smoke materials, right? You can see here the little smoke materials. What I'm gonna do here is that these smokes are actually on a 2x2 grid. So what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna do texture sheet animation, and I'm gonna do a grid of 2x2, and what I'm going to do here is that these are going to be random. Nice. 0 and 4. Alright, so we have some smoky smoke. Here on the start rotation, I actually think we want to make it random, so let's click the little button and make it between 360 and 0. Alright, it's looking a lot better. Finally, to end here my effect, I think we want to do a little bit of a color over a lifetime. Let's make it perhaps a little bit of a green. How about that? Where they fade in and out. That could work. Yes. Little green smoke. And alright, so let's make some considerations here about the smoke. So the very first thing is that when you spawn them, right now they just stand still, but you could have them move. But one thing you can play with is the simulation space. So right now it's set to local, so if I take my clown here and I move it, you can see that the smoke moves with the clown. But if I go to my particle system, oh, also something else, the particles don't need to be attached to the character in any way, shape, or form. That's also something interesting. But if I go here on my particle system, I can also go and set the simulation space from local to world. And this can get some really interesting results, because now as I move, you can see that my particles, they stay where they were. So they stopped updating there because, you know, I didn't have the particle selected. But you can see here how as my character moves, it generates this trail of smoke, right, in the shape of the character. This is especially interesting. I said we were not going to do any specific Team Fortress 2 taunt effects, but I'm just going to show this one at once because it's one where they use again and again and again, which is essentially what you can do here is that on the duration, you can do something like, so you can do 1 divided by the amount of times you want it to update in a second. So let's say 24, right? I think I put 25 there. Let me see. All right, so we have here 0.05, which I think it's the minimum that Unity allows on the duration. Might be, not sure. So what we can do here on the emission is that instead of doing a rate over time, we can actually do a burst. Let's do a meaty burst of... these are pretty big smokes, so let's do 20. I think 20 is going to work. And you can see here that it kind of summons particles every X seconds, right? And what I can do is that we can summon on the triangles, or we can also do, for example, on the edges of the model and then make it random, which gets a little bit more randomization. And this is a very common effect that they use to get like a trailing effect. Well, these are way too often. Hold on. Let's see here. Let's do 0.1 second because these are just generating way too often. Yeah, this is still too often for my taste, actually. So let's see here, 0.25. Maybe I overestimated the numbers here. Yeah, this looks a little bit closer. So you can see here, this is kind of an effect where they use a lot on their unusual taunts. The lifetime right now is set to 5, which is way too much. Let's do like 1, maybe 2. And what we can do here on the color over lifetime is that we can make it spawn already at full opacity. And then we can make it start fading as soon as it, you know, as soon as it spawns. Something else I'm going to do is that this is an alpha smoke. I'm going to swap it out for an additive one because usually that's closer to the Team Fortress 2 style. So now if you imagine this is the scout moving, you can tell here kind of the effect that goes on, right? And it follows the animation. This is used very often on Team Fortress. Maybe we can even do 0.15, but with less particles. Let's see if that works. Yeah, that works. That works well. Yeah, so this is something very common for the Unusual Taunts. But, yeah, I mean, this is pretty much the effect. As I said, it's a pretty simple setup, but very, very powerful. You know, you can also make ribbons, so you can enable trails. And here on the trails, you can do ribbon, and then it connects the little ribbons. Let me just make them really smaller, because this is absolutely ridiculous. What we can do here is that we can divide these by... Hold on. Oh, God. Let's do something like this. So this is how they get, for example, web effects. So you can have, like, webbed type of trails. And if you use a proper material here, so let me get one of my trail materials, for example. This is just for showcase purposes. But you can see here kind of the effect. This is how you can get stuff like spider webs and stuff like those, you know. So you can do really, really powerful stuff with these little technique here. So yeah, once again, very nice and short and sweet tutorial, but I hope you enjoyed. Thank you for watching, and if you have enjoyed, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. There's lots and lots of new tutorials coming up. We also need a lot of ideas for new tutorials. So if there's something you want to learn, either from me or William, please leave it in the comments. We actually read it, we actually care, and we actually need some good ideas. Also, if you want to get up close and personal, you can join us on our Discord server. There you will find not only information about the tutorials in YouTube, but also about our upcoming games, and also about everything Unity Asset Store related, the sales, the new assets, the bundles, everything. So if you want to keep up to date, consider going there. The link is going to be on the description. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.